here in the Nation of Islam with the opening with prayer. So if everyone could stand and position yourself in a manner that is comfortable for you, in the manner in which you would like to show your surrendering unto God. In the name of Allah the Beneficent, the Merciful, surely I've turned myself, being upright to Him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has He, and this am I commanded, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, Thou art the King, there is no God but Thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am Thy servant. I've been greatly unjust in myself, and I confess my faults. So please grant me protection against all my faults, for none grant protection against faults but Thee. And guide me to the best of morals, for none guide to the best of morals but Thee. And turn from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn from me the evil and indecent morals but Thee. O Allah, bless Muhammad, and bless the true followers of Muhammad, as Thou did bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham, for sure Thou praised and magnified. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful, make the true followers of Muhammad successful, as Thou did make Abraham successful and the true followers of Abraham successful. For sure Thou praised, worthy, and magnified. Amen. Thank you. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is His messenger. I greet the governing body in the greeting words of peace and paradise. We said in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to thank all of you for taking time out this evening to come out and hear from our brother, student minister Dr. Wesley, with this timely message. I want to first thank Pastor Hawkins and his wife's sister, April Cook Hawkins, for blessing us with their presence and the work that they are doing in the community to help in the causes of wrong towards the citizens of the city of Flint. We'd like to recognize Council Member Maurice Davis of the 2nd Ward. Thank you for coming out and blessing us with your presence. What we hope and pray is that what you hear today you take back to your places of abode, to your headquarters of think tank, and you use this information to get out in a unified manner in order to tackle the problems that plagues the city of Flint. No one group or one entity can deal with the problems that we have as a whole, but if we come together collectively in the things that we share equally, we can put a dent in this problem and eventually see a change come about. Yes, sir. I want you to reason with me for a minute when we look at unity. A lot of us look at unity as you got to go to church where I go. So I go to Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. If you don't go there, I'm not going to work with you. I'm not going to sit and unify with you. I'm not going to take my time out my day to be with you because we're not in the same place. Well, we don't want people who believe we have to think alike and act alike to be unified with us. Because then you don't have nothing new to the table from a different point of view that would help change our conditions. The people in the church may be able to have somebody who deals with the educational system. The Nation of Islam may come and be able to deal with the people in the streets, the reconciliation of gang wars and problems with economics. People in another group may be able to deal with something else. But we can't deal with things that plagues us all if we think we all got to think alike in order to fight it. Right. I'd like to also thank from Saginaw, our brother Wesley Spencer, chairholder of the Saginaw African Cultural Community. We'd like to thank you for coming and participating. This is one of our young youth brothers, young brother, trying to do things. And when the young people trying to do something, we should stand behind them. Do something with them. We don't need to worry about what mind he's coming from and where he belongs. of what he believed in, and he work with him.
Yes, sir.
Always use simple analogies. If you in an ocean drowning and you need somebody to throw a life raft out to you, you ain't gonna ask them what church they belong to, what affiliation they with, who they praise God for, what they believe. All you want is that raft to come out and grab you and save you from drowning. Why we can't use that same analogy and common sense when dealing with one another in a problem that's plaguing us all equally? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is one of the greatest examples we can have in a man who would work with all our people regardless of what they would do to him.
Yes, right.
If it's for the benefit of our people.
Yes, right.
If you see a model that works, follow the model.
Yes, sir.
Put away egos.
Right.
Put away set tripping, as Dr. Wesley said earlier. Put away all that and come into the room with your idea and your program, and let's merge it with the other ideas and programs to tackle all the avenues that we have that's plaguing the city of Flint.
Yes.
One of the main things is we have to really truly care.
Right.
We have to really care.
That's right.
If you don't really care, you ain't gonna really step up and unify and do anything.
That's right.
Well, what does care look like? Care looks like a man who can go to work and go home and don't do nothing, take a time out of his day and say, I'm finna stop by here and pass out a bottle of water for an hour.
That's right. That's right.
But I ain't have to. But I wanted to help get something out to the people that's helping them.
That's right.
A man that could have been somewhere doing something else, he going door to door finding out who's the elderly, who's the sick and the shut-in, to bring stuff to them to help them in their time of need. That's a person who cares. But what we can't have today is the one who stands before us as if he cares. But soon as a grant comes in, soon as some money is lined in the pocket, they lose the representation of the people and they start to represent the state and the city's interests. We can't have that no more. We got to have people who are willing to not, as we've been saying all day in every meeting we went to this morning, we don't want people who want to die for the cause. We want people who are willing to live for the cause. Because living is a harder struggle than dying. Once you did, it's over. But as long as you live and you fight in that struggle, that's a constant battle. So, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has the Executive Council establishing the coalitions that came up out of the Million Man March back in full effect. The Nation of Islam has, but the minister created 9 ministries. Those 9 ministries were created to cover every aspect of condition that we're plagued with, but it wouldn't take no one person to try to work it all by themselves. He didn't say, well, the nation, keep this inclusive and you work it. He said, go in the streets. Get the people who belong to that aspect of that ministry and work with them to make this prosperous for the people. But what happens is, egos, people want to be in front and in charge, get in the way. Once they get in the way, then, as a brother said earlier today, we'll be progressing all the way to the door. And when we get to the door, we start to argue about how we go through it. And all the progress we made on got lost. Now we set back. But emotions is a big thing. And we have to learn to put emotions to the side when we're dealing with a matter. Before I bring Dr. Wesley up, I want to give an example of emotion. Tuesday, Sister Alicia Williams, one of the activists here in the city of Flint, had a protest and rally for D15. $15 minimum wage for McDonald's workers. And me and two other brothers was there. And I was talking to a brother about coming out to this event, so we fell behind the crowd that went into the streets. And the brother was telling me, brother, you got to stop talking. They in the streets. Let's go. So we stopped to head towards the streets. When we get to the curve of the street, a truck comes flying through and hit 7 to 9 people in the street. Now, emotionally, you mad at the driver. He did it on purpose. He ain't right. He knew he was out. That's emotion. But I stood back and looked at the scientific means and breakdowns of it. And guess what I saw? I saw the police car that was flanking the protesters didn't have its red and blue flashing lights on. Therefore, if I'm coming a half a mile down the street from people walking in the street and I don't see nothing to tell me that there's somebody out there that I need to drive safely and cautiously, I'm coming the speed limit, which is 50 miles an hour on dirt highway. So when I sat back and reviewed the entire thing, I seen it from beginning to end. I seen when the truck was coming, it was behind the police car. I seen him jump over to pass the car because he thought it was a car just moving slow in the way. And then when he seen the protesters, he hit the brake, the truck swerved, slammed into the back of the protesters. Now, in my humble opinion, not looking at it with emotion, but with a scientific breakdown. The police got the blue and red flashes on. I see it. That's telling me something going on. I need to slow down and stop. Regardless of what he did, he got some culpability for being negligent and not paying attention. But in my humble opinion, you are here to protect the protesters and keep them safe. Right. And if you don't have your red and blue flashes on, and as dark as it was at 10 minutes to 7 in the morning, that's a recipe for disaster. Right. So I look at it like this. When we come to a situation, we all been plagued, those of us in the city of Flint, with some kind of way by the water crisis. Don't approach it emotionally. Well, Snyder this, Weaver that, somebody this, Nick Lyons that. That's all good, but it's bigger than them. It go up higher than them. It's more wicked, evil people doing stuff worse than what they were doing. They just a product of the downstream of puppets that's working in the orchestration to kill off of people in a city that they want control of. That's right. That's all that is. So don't get fooled emotionally and let them keep us divided about what's going on. Just stay with the people that you know fighting seriously and honestly for us and help them in helping us rather than sit by and watch them until the enemy destroy them. Because he don't want them to stand up and say anything. So our brother, student minister Dr. Wesley Muhammad, a great privilege and honor to have him here to speak to us. We can applaud for that. I'd like to bring before you our illustrious student minister Dr. Wesley Muhammad with a round of applause, please.
Who came in the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad, to whom all holy praises are forever due. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. And I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his living and exalted Christ. I further bear witness that the honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan is the divine reminder, the apostle of God in our midst today. In their names, family, I greet you. We say it in the Nation of Islam in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. It simply means peace be unto you. Brother Student Coordinator Terry X and the student laborers here in Flint, Michigan, thank you for your hospitality. We've had a busy and productive day today. I'm honored by all of your presence. To Brother Reverend Hawkins and his courageous wife, Sister April. I'm honored by your presence. I understand Brother Maurice Davis. Thank you, dear sir, for honoring us with your presence. And Brother Wesley Spencer. Thank you, sir. I understand Chief Johnson sent a representative. I'm honored by the consideration. I'm happy to be in Flint.
Yes, sir.
On this. Sister Leela, thank you for joining us again. I had the pleasure of being on her wonderful show and platform this morning, and it set the tone of my day. Thank you, Sister Leela. Why am I so excited about being in Flint today? Next weekend, the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan, God is sending him to Detroit for the purpose of our celebrating or commemorating the 23rd anniversary of the Million Man March and Day of Atonement. Myself and members of his executive council, which is the governing body of the Nation of Islam under his direction and leadership, we met with him after returning to Detroit, and he said to all of us, he instructed us to go see Michael Moore's new movie, Fahrenheit 11/9. And there were some other things said, which I will not share here, but suffice to say, Flint is high on the consciousness of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. And of course, why would it not be? A crime against humanity has occurred here in Flint. I don't have to tell you, you know that. What I would like to offer is some broader context to the crime against black humanity that's underway here in Flint. What I would like to offer is a perspective that ties not the Flint water crisis. That's real. It's a crisis, but crisis suggests a natural event. Hurricane Katrina was a crisis, a natural crisis. There's nothing natural about what's going on here in Flint. This is a Flint water conspiracy. And partly because of the courageous work of Sister April Cook Hawkins, who is a whistleblower and deserves whistleblower status. What your courageous testimony does, Sister April, is prove that this is a conspiracy because it proves a cover-up. A cover-up ipso facto or inherently indicates a conspiracy. So what we're talking about is the Flint water conspiracy. What I would like to offer today in the brief moments that we have is help us see the Flint water conspiracy in its broader context. This is not an isolated incident. This is not a local matter. And black people must desist in treating the Flint water conspiracy as a Flint problem.
Yes, sir. Yes.
This is a local iteration of a very national conspiracy.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir.
Understanding the Flint water conspiracy in its national context.
That's right.
One serves notice on all black people
Yes, sir.
in the United States of America, and maybe shines light and gives guidance on how we in Flint should proceed in tackling this water conspiracy, raising it from the level of just a crisis to a conspiracy. That in and of itself gives us some guidance. Sister April, one of the moments that touched me in that movie I voted for President Obama in the first term. And I am not today ashamed or apologetic about my vote. What year was his first campaign?
2008.
2008. And his second campaign was 2012. I did not vote for my brother in 2012. The reason I didn't vote for my brother then was because he was party to a crime that I could not excuse. The crime then that kept me from voting for him in 2012 was his complicity in the murder of our brother, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. That was Hillary Clinton's operation, but as POTUS, he should have stood firm against that criminal act. So for that reason, I didn't vote for Brother Obama in 2012. But what I discovered, Sister April, which I did not know, he came here to Flint and made himself a party to this crime against black humanity. And while his involvement in the murder of my brother, Muammar Gaddafi, I found unexcusable, his involvement in this crime against humanity, me personally, I find unforgivable. But there is a teachable moment there for us, family. And I hope you bear with your brother.
Sir, go ahead.
I know we are headed into midterm elections. And so all of our mind is on getting out the vote. But if I may, family, there were multiple teachable moments when President Barack Obama stood there, and I think Governor Snyder
Yes, sir.
was there, the Republican governor. Snyder, the criminal, one of the key criminals caught with his pants down. The Republican governor standing with our Democratic president.
Yes, sir. Right.
And our brother had the gall to try to hoodwink us. Simulate drinking your poison water. Insult our intelligence like that. The greatest offense wasn't his insulting of our intelligence, but he was participating.
That's right. That's right.
Willingly
Yes, sir.
participating in this conspiracy.
Yes, sir.
Conspiracy that harms black babies here in Flint for generations.
That's right.
That's right.
But this was not just our brother. This is the best that we got from the Democratic Party.
Bring it on. Yes, bring it on.
Come on, expose it.
If our own president, see, this is the teachable moment,
That's right.
our own black president, who does, I do not believe it can be said that our brother didn't enter that White House with a genuine love for black people. Certainly his bona fide, beautiful wife, Sister Michelle, has love for black people. Obama does too, but so what does it say? That he would be such an instrument in this crime against black humanity. What that says is salvation for us won't come through the Democratic Party. Salvation for us won't come through the Republican Party. We cannot work ourselves into redemption. It's imperative that we don't. Expect more as we get out the vote. It's imperative that we don't expect more from the vote than we should. It's important that we do not invest the future of our babies on a political system where these people can change the laws at whim because it is their system. And whether it's Republican or Democratic, they pull the strings of this system and they will pull it according to their interests and never according to our interests, except our interests converge with their interests. Don't invest the future of our babies on vote or die. That is not the option before us, vote or die. The option before us is separate or continue to die. Separate. I am here in Flint on the eve of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan coming to Detroit, Michigan. To offer us a reason, offer us here in Flint a reason to seriously consider separation.
All right now. Yes.
There is no better place to make that case than here in Flint.
That's right. That's right.
There is no better case or place to make that case than two black people here in Flint, because you are in the midst of such a wicked assault that leaves everybody exposed. The crime that's being committed here sheds light on certain realities that the whole nation needs to be keen on. The crimes committed against you by Democrats and Republicans, the willy-nilly way in which they manipulate their laws and manipulate their politics in order to keep justice from coming to you.
That's right.
That's a signal to the rest of the country. What I hope to do in a few moments, if you will permit me, is demonstrate that what is going on here is not a local phenomenon. It's a local iteration of a very national phenomenon. So if you are considering or are able to consider separation as the only remedy to your problem here in Flint, then the rest of Black America will be able to consider separation as the only remedy to the problem of black and white in America. What is the broader context of the Flint water conspiracy? First, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in 1 month before he departed from us, he gave us a clear understanding of what's happening here in Flint.
Yes, sir.
In January 1975. Listen to his words, family. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "At this very hour, eternal war against the black man is planned, as the psalmist of the Bible prophesies that they plan to destroy the poor secretly." Flint is the poorest nation or poorest city in the country, is it not? They plan to destroy the poor secretly. All kinds of evils are planned against the once loyal slave of America today. In his drugs, in his food, and in the water the slave eats and drinks, to destroy his increase of his nation. Your water has not just been negligently polluted. Your water has been willfully weaponized.
That's right.
Say that. Come on now.
Take your time.
You understand the difference?
Yes, sir.
Your food, my food, has been weaponized.
That's right.
The air we breathe has been weaponized, but that sounds like black Muslim hyperbole. I understand. That sounds like vintage black Muslim rhetoric. I understand. Inshallah, you won't leave with the same
That's right.
assumption about what we are saying. The water has been weaponized. Can we prove that? Can we prove that this is not just greed?
Teach.
Greed is here. greed is involved in the Flint water conspiracy. But dear brothers and sisters, I would like to offer to us there's something very important you have to understand about white people.
Come on, teach, brother.
We miss this so often. Even us woke folk. We miss it. Yes, money is the white man's God. Yes, he is a materialist. He is greedy. And yes, every opportunity to make $1 or $1 million, he would seize. But he's that, and he's more than that. His motivations for doing things, and this is the error that we make. We assume that his motivation for doing things is strictly greed. That his objective is only money. The white man, and this is what I need us to get. The white man is in the motive of all of his efforts. He's motivated by both the love of wealth and the hatred of you. The hatred of you. And don't make the mistake of making his hate for you and me secondary to his greed. His hate for you and me is primary. And if he can make a buck off of it, then praise the Lord. His hatred for you and me is visceral because it's practical. His hate for you and me is not just an emotional hate, it's a very practical hate born from the instinct to survive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's a survivalist.
That's right. That's right. There you go.
That's right.
And his dealing with us
That's right.
is always with the mind of surviving. Surviving what? Surviving his replacement.
Come on.
You already know.
You are his replacement that he has known about
That's right.
for 88 years now.
That's right.
For 88 years now, he was made aware that his replacement is the so-called Negro in America. And from that point, you and I have been his obsession.
That's right, sir.
Why did Herod, believers, Christian family, why did Herod seek to slay the young, slay the babies? Why did Herod want to slay the boy children? What was he looking for? What was he looking to prevent? His replacement. Jesus, as the king of the Jews, he thought was going to be his replacement. So he slaughtered the children to avoid being replaced by the one he was informed will be born in his midst. That is you.
That's right. That's right.
In the United States government, it's Herod, and Herod has known for 88 years now that his replacement exists in his midst. And so, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, he's weaponized our food, he weaponized our weed.
That's right. That's right.
I hear they have beer slushies here in Flint. Is that true? Urban legend? What you're experiencing here in Flint is an outgrowth of deliberate plan. It doesn't just have Flint in mind, it has all of Black America in mind, but the benefit of Flint is that these agents again were caught with their pants down, caught red-handed, so there is no denying that the white man is a conspirator and seeks to kill Black people. Flint makes it unarguable.
Yes, sir. That's right. Come on.
The broader picture, the broader context of not just your water crisis, but your water conspiracy. Again, Flint is a local iteration of a national agenda item. In 2008, family, the Associated Press published a series of investigations called Farmer Water. They investigated the public water supply of 50 cities across 50 states. They found and they exposed and listed the cities that have the most contaminated water. What they found was the contamination of these urban water sources. It's not just heavy metals such as lead, but they are polluted with pharmaceuticals.
That's right. That's right.
Tell it.
Drugs and their byproducts and hormones like estrogen.
That's right, sir.
The number one, the most frequent contamination of the urban water sources is estrogenic chemicals. Either estrogen from the residue of birth control pills or estrogen-like chemicals such as DDT, BPA, phthalates, and others. We're going to say more about them in a minute. The broad context of what's going on here in Flint in this report, documenting how contaminated the national water supply, in particular in the cities, are stunning. And what it reveals is the very selective and thus deliberate nature of the problem. I will demonstrate that.
Come on.
Let's take Chicago, where I am. The Chicago Tribune reported that the Chicago water supply is contaminated with, I'm going to start from the bottom and go up.
Yes, sir.
Nicotine. Now, there's something you and I should know about nicotine. We like menthol cigarettes. 80% of menthol cigarette smokers are you and me. But menthol cigarettes used to be an affluent white woman cigarette. How did menthol cigarettes go from being an affluent white woman cigarette to being the primary choice for black men to chase down their weed? You know, we chase down our weed with menthol cigarettes. It is because when they discovered that nicotine has a melanin affinity. That means nicotine attaches to melanated tissue in a way it doesn't attach to
non-melanated tissue. And so they employed an aggressive campaign to get black men in particular hooked on menthol cigarettes in particular. Why? Because menthol increases the absorption of the nicotine. And so now black smokers, I'm sorry,
Teach, bro. Come on, break it down.
we are reservoirs of nicotine because our melanin content attracts the nicotine and it locks onto our melanin and stays with us for life. And that nicotine is found in the water supply of Chicago. DDT. DDT was a pesticide that was used by the U.S. military. The U.S. military had control of all of the supply. What most don't understand is DDT physically turns males into females.
Tell them again.
Wake us up, brother.
In Florida, a sea of, or a lake of alligators were all transgender
Yes, sir. Come on.
because of a DDT leak into the lake. The herring gold birds of Chicago and Michigan. The babies, if the shell is coated with DDT, the males will come out feminized. This is in the water in Chicago. Bisphenol A, progesterone, the female hormone in atrazine. I'm going to come back to atrazine. So Chicago's water supply is contaminated with all of these chemicals. But there's something very amazing about this fact. Chicago's water supply is Lake Michigan. But Lake Michigan is also the water supply for Milwaukee. This is a very instructive tale of two cities.
That's right.
One black, one white. Because the great city of Milwaukee is known as the fresh water capital of the United States. Why? Can the waterworks superintendent, Kerry Lewis, say Milwaukee tap water is clear of pharmaceuticals, while Chicago is polluted with pharmaceuticals? Milwaukee is clear of pharmaceuticals, even though both Milwaukee and Chicago draw from Lake Michigan. Milwaukee is considered a water technology mecca. It's the Silicon Valley of water technology. So they use an efficient but expensive process of purifying their water, because water treatment is used in all of these cities. They are designed to catch heavy metals, but not pharmaceuticals.
That's right.
But Milwaukee invests in the technology to catch the pharmaceuticals. So both Milwaukee and Chicago draw from the same polluted source, like Michigan. The water provided to black people in Chicago is heavily polluted. Chicago won't invest in the ozone technology. Milwaukee's water is clean, except, and this is the point, Milwaukee, the great white city, has the cleanest water, they say, in the United States. Unless you are black in Milwaukee. Unless you are black in Milwaukee. This infamous zip code, among the several black zip codes, because Milwaukee is as segregated as Chicago, as America. In the black zip codes of Milwaukee, let me read to us. As of 2016, 4.9% of Flint, Michigan children 6 and under had elevated lead in their bloodstream. In this black sections of Milwaukee, the Silicon Valley of water technology, the freshwater capital of the United States. In the black area codes, 4.9% here in Flint, 8.6% in black Milwaukee. 8.6% of black children have a high lead content in the city of fresh water. It is because it is deliberate.
That's right.
Black America, not just in Flint, but in Milwaukee and Chicago, across this country, our water is not just negligently polluted, it is willfully weaponized. You may not yet be persuaded. Let's go to Atlanta.
Come on.
But before we go to Atlanta, remember at the top of the list in Chicago was atrazine.
That's right.
Atrazine in the water, the public water of Chicago. Why is that such a bombshell? Atrazine is a herbicide produced by a Swiss company, Syngenta. Remember that. Syngenta. Dr. Tyrone Hayes was in their employ to study the ecological effects of their herbicide, atrazine. And what Dr. Tyrone Hayes discovered is atrazine is not just a gender bender, it totally transforms sex. Male amphibians grow eggs and can get pregnant. But what Dr. Tyrone Hayes demonstrated was, even though the African clawed frog was his illustration, this sex transforming capacity of this herbicide atrazine is not restricted to amphibians. He demonstrated the same effect in mammals, including human beings. So this sex transforming chemical, this gender bending chemical, is in the water of Chicago. You might be tempted to say, well, that's just an accident of pollution. What this is, dear family, the United States Geological Survey of the contaminants in Lake Chattahoochee, or the Chattahoochee River, which services Atlanta, Georgia. The home of the CDC, Reverend Hawkins, I want to attempt to answer a question you asked in the back about the CDC's role here in Flint. This 2011 study, governmental study, of the state of Atlanta's water. It discovered a number of interesting things. One, Atlanta's water supply is contaminated with 266 organic compounds.
Wow.
266. But what is most important, they tested. This test was conducted. They tested the source water, the level of contamination in the source water, which means the pre-treatment water. And then they tested the level of contamination in the finished water after treatment. And they determined how much of an individual chemical is in the source water, how much in the finished water. Now, typically what you would expect to see post-treatment, the numbers decrease because the treatment reduces the amount of the chemical in the source water. Not only did they find atrazine in Atlanta's water, but source water 100, finished water 100, which says the only way there could be absolutely no impact, zero impact on the atrazine in the water of Atlanta is because it was desired that the atrazine get through the process.
That's right.
Because the treatment process will have some effect on the content, but 100% going in, 100 coming out. And you wonder why Atlanta is the gay black Mecca. It is not an accident. The water that services Atlanta has the most is fully contaminated with the most potent, not just gender bender, but sex transformer. Wow. Right where the CDC sits. Now, our sister April, shared with me, Mayor, if you do not want, I will not.
I think this is already out there.
You would expect the CDC, if they were consistent with their stated code and pledge, that the CDC would take a great interest in what's going on here in Flint, and with their resources descend on this city and help remedy the situation. But they've been in contact with Sister April. They know what Sister April, her testimony. They know there's a cover-up. They know there's a crime.
Yes, sir. That's right.
But they told you what, Sister April?
And it shouldn't get out.
That it should not get out. See, they're part of the cover-up.
Teach.
They are part of the cover-up. We should not be surprised,
That's right.
Reverend Hawkins, because it's the CDC.
That's right.
See, lead, the other heavy metal, mercury. It's the CDC that is responsible for that autism holocaust of black boys. The CDC not only cover up,
That's right.
engaged in willful cover up of the specific damage that the mirror saw used in the MMR vaccine. That's real.
That's right.
That mirror saw it's mercury base. It's more damaging to black men. 236% more damaging to black males than to anyone else. Why? What most don't know is mercury has a toxic synergy with testosterone, the male hormone.
That's right.
Has a toxic synergy. The more testosterone, the worse the mercury reacts. And as I have demonstrated, Sister April and Reverend Hawkins, the black male is the world's Mr. T.
That's right.
The world's Mr. Testosterone. The black male has the highest concentration of testosterone than any people on the planet Earth. And this is why autism is a male disorder.
That's right.
Males get autism 4 to 5 times more than females. But it's not just a male disorder, it is a black male disorder because our testosterone has been weaponized against us.
That's right. Yes, sir.
By imposing, and then what they did, Pastor Hawkins, when a fellow whistleblower from the CDC blew the whistle on this cover-up and exposed that they knew that thimerosal in the MMR vaccine was causing such devastation on the minds and brains of black males in particular. The CDC went into overdrive to cover it up, but they did more than that. Because of the national attention, they were forced to remove thimerosal from the MMR vaccine, but thimerosal and the mercury, it was too important to their objective. So what did they do? They put it in the flu vaccine. And then they did something that the CDC knows better than to do and never did before. They always encourage pregnant women not to get the flu shot. They encourage pregnant women not to eat fish because of the potential mercury content that will harm your baby. Yet here, when they were forced to take their ethnic weapon, mercury, out of the MMR vaccine, they put it in the flu black vaccine and they invested hundreds of thousands of dollars to get pregnant black women to take the flu vaccine. And this is an illustration of what I said. The white man ain't just about greed. He's about hate for you and me. Because we know that it's cliche that Big Pharma is all about money, right? They're very greedy. But greed isn't the top objective of Big Pharma. What is the top objective of Big Pharma? Let me illustrate. There is in Chicago. What time is it? I have to close on this point. To contextualize what I'm about to say, and throw this out. The only thing worse than the water in the black community is the food in the black community. There's a particular grocery store in the hood. It has changed all over Chicago, but this particular one in the hood is the most awful thing I've ever encountered. It stinks, and the stench hits you before you enter the door. So you know why. That the food that's outdated from the store that they can't sell in northern Chicago. They send it to their branches in South Chicago. So we get rotten, outdated food. That's what they make available to us. But this particular one is so egregious. I've never experienced anything like it, and because it is still standing, it's really a marvel. But on top of that, at this very grocery store with its gross stench from its spoiled and weaponized food, out in front is a big, huge sign so that when you drive down this street of Main, Stony Island, with all this black traffic, you can't help but see this big, huge advertisement from this grocery store. The advertisement is to all of these poor black people that are eating the death that they are selling us. The advertisement is, come get your flu shot for free. For free. See, Big Pharma ain't worried about making a buck. They worried about killing you and me. They're worried their motive is deploying mercury to do its job. Its job to cause chaos, neurological chaos in the black male, to weaponize the black male's own testosterone, because we talk about the white man has penis envy of the black man. Yes, but even more than his penis envy is his testosterone envy. And this is why in Chicago, in the 30s and 40s, there's a phenomenon called gland larceny. Wealthy whites will cut the testicles off of black men to extract the testosterone. The CDC is who initiated the campaign to convince pregnant black women to get the flu shot. Why pregnant black women? Herod wants your child. He wants to cut you and I off in the womb. In the very womb. So wow, the object, the target of this man's assault is the black male, or the object of his assault is the black male. The number one target is a pregnant black woman. The pregnant black woman is the strategic target of so much of this planet. So the water in Atlanta, the water in Chicago, in Philadelphia, the worst city 56 chemicals in a glass of tap water in Philly. 56. And what's distinct about Philly? See, Philly is known as the most Muslim city in all of America. And they said, we're going to handle that. We got something for that. Because they know it's Islam that inspires the black man to walk to replace it. So, dear brothers and sisters of Flint, this is a watershed moment. Flint's crisis is one iteration of a national crisis. Flint is victimized, but you're not just victimized by a local criminal. You're victimized by local reps of a national criminal. But what you do, the courage that the activists here had, you expose the criminality and the criminals in a way that serves our national interest. You left them with their pants down, and now no one can say that such evil doesn't exist at the highest level. This is a crime against black humanity here in Flint. It's a crime against black America, black humanity nationally. But before I leave, what can we do?
Here we go. Come on.
Come on, brother.
Dear family, the lead, the mercury, the atrazine, the DDT, who has heard of Aldous Huxley? He wrote a book, Brave New World. In the 50s.
Was it 50? Oh, you got some good ears. Yes, sir.
This is an important book because Aldous Huxley wasn't just a British novelist, as they present him, but he was actually part of the British aristocracy that's tied to Western military intelligence. And what has come out now, the world, the brave new world that he described in that book was not his flights of fantasy.
That's right.
But were based on a blueprint of a future world that the aristocracy and intelligence people had desired to socially engineer. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Why am I ending our talk here? What does that have to do with solutions? If you were to go Google Brave New World, a word you will constantly come across is this word, dystopia. I want to introduce that to us. I think that word should annoy our consciousness.
Yes, sir.
Dystopia. D-Y-S-T-O-P-I-A. Dystopia. What is dystopia? It's the opposite of utopia. Utopia being a place of all good.
Right, right.
Dystopia is that place of all bad. Utopia is a bright and sunny health-filled place. Dystopia is a dark and dingy place filled with fear and dread. In a utopia, the people's health is supreme, whereas in a dystopia, the people are socially engineered to be degraded organisms. The dystopia that Aldous Huxley and the aristocracy and intelligent folk behind him, the dystopia that they envisioned was one that was socially engineered. I submit to us, family, Black America has been socially engineered as Aldous Huxley's Black dystopia. They flood their brother. I love you. And that's why I have to keep telling you that weed you smoking has been weaponized. The Molly you popping is weaponized. See, central to Aldous Huxley's dystopia or Brave New World, what made the people degraded organisms? Because of the effect of this pill he called in his novel Soma. Soma. It was a fictitious pill, but the plan that he outlined was drug the people. Drug the people. And they will be willing servants to the alpha class. They will degenerate. Their humanity will degenerate. So they are incapable of rising up to replace the alpha class. They are physically incapable because the drugs have degraded their organism. All the Molly, all the lean, all the codeine, all the loud, all the menthols. Our organism, the very miracle of God himself, this black body, has been so degraded. Deliberately, the lead, the mercury, it produced a situation of dystopia in many black communities. So how is that a solution, Brother Dr. Wesley? Well, it's not, but it contextualizes the solution. But one that, see, remedy ain't in politics, family.
That's right.
That's right. See, the dystopia that I described, that you know is an accurate description of large areas of black America. You know that.
That's right. That's right.
No amount of protesting will remedy that. Politics won't remedy that. We are not going to vote. We're not going to vote the elevation of our organism.
No, sir. That's right.
All we are doing is bringing our degraded organisms to the ballot box. And this is why everyone we send to office, they never do our bidding. Never. And we never hold them accountable. Why? Because we've been biochemically made docile. Great work. We've been biochemically docile. So everyone can do whatever they want to the black man and woman, and the most that will happen is we will protest. solution
Come on.
ain't in politics. The solution is in separating from our enemy and what do we do when we separate? What do we do in the process? We can fix, family, our organism.
That's right. Come on.
Yes, sir.
We in the Nation of Islam say,
Yes.
and we stand on, and will debate anyone.
Come on.
God Almighty
Come on.
came to you, black man and woman.
That's right.
God. The one that prophesied will come at the end of time for his people. His people ain't the Jews.
That's right.
The chosen people of God are the black man and woman here in Belgium, North America. Now look, how dare we believe that God will come to his people to resurrect his people, but he did not leave a solution to the problem created by his enemy.
Come on.
Yes, the white man did this to us, but the white man ain't God.
That's right.
The white man ain't God. And so what the white man did, God can undo. But it don't happen abracadabra.
That's right.
That's a spook God. We don't do spook God in the Nation of Islam. How do we undo what God's enemy did to us? He prescribed a lifestyle, starting with how to eat, to live. See, we can regenerate. We can heal this organism. We can free ourselves from the toxicities that our enemy deliberately injected in us. And employing the diet, the dietary do's and don'ts. Get you some navy beans and stay there. Get you some whole milk and stay there. Employ the diet that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad prescribed for us. Then we start regenerating
Come on. Come on.
this organism. We can clean it out and we will elevate
That's right.
from degraded humanity to superior humanity. The nation of, look, man, I'm going to say this, I'm going to get y'all back, and I'm going to run out of here. The Nation of Islam is proof of the growth from degraded humanity to superior humanity. It is your origin. But you don't see dystopia in us. You see the elevation of our organism. It's because the lifestyle heals. God came to the black man and woman in America. So you all come to Detroit next Sunday, October 14th, to help us commemorate the 23rd anniversary of the American. Assalamu alaikum. I'm sorry I have to run. We have 5:30 in Detroit.
Yes,
May Allah bless all
Yes,
of
sir.
you. Thank you
Thank
for
you
the
so
wonderful.
much.
Thank you, family, for coming out. Were we well fed?
Yes, sir.
Did we learn something?
Yes, sir.
Did we get something we can take back home and put to work for those around us? Start right on your street to make them changes. Those who continue to fight in the struggle, continue to fight. Don't get deterred by the ups and downs and the highs and the lows. Just continue to keep going because God got you as long as you got God. We'd like to thank all of you for coming out and participating, listening to Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Thank those who came as far from Saginaw and other places. Thank all our dignitaries and representatives of the city, the activists who came out to grace us with their presence. We're pleased and grateful for your coming. We'd like to thank you. At this time, we like to have what is called charity, where we know to operate something and to keep something open, it costs money. Keep them ceiling fans turning by consumers, it costs money. Keep Paul Heron's plugged in to operate his video costs money. So whatever you have in the way of helping us to continue this cause and this effort is greatly appreciated. And those who had the intention to give but were not able to give, just your presence of coming out was giving. Your time, your gifts, and your talents is a giving thing. And we appreciate that. After we're done with this portion, we'll close out as we began with prayer, and then we'll let everyone be dismissed back to their places of abode or wherever they are headed. Thank you once again. I want to announce again, Holy Day of Atonement. 23rd anniversary of the Million Man March will be in Detroit, Michigan at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, formerly known as Shane Park, next Sunday. I believe it's 2 p.m. It's the start time. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be addressing us. If we can be there, we should be there to receive instruction and guidance from our minister, who is the minister not of just the Nation of Islam, but of the entire nation of black, brown, red, and yellow people on the planet Earth, whether you believe it or not. So, with that, we'll stand and close, and on your way out, they have a flyer with the information for the Holy Day of Atonement with the address on it, and we'll be dismissed. There's books and tapes by Dr. Wesley Muhammad at the table. If you'd like to purchase one, please stop at the table and get one. Magnificent writings and books and information that will help continue your striving and goal to raise yourself up and get your organism back to where it needs to be. Yes, sir. All right, prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and thine aid we seek. O Allah, guide us on the straight path. Pass upon those whom thou hast bestowed thy favor, not the path whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those that go astray after they have heard thy teaching. Amen. Thank you. Stop by and check out the books and tapes on your way out.